Administrations and Public Works Committee. We have a quorum, and could we get a motion for the minutes of the April 25th meeting, approval of the April 25th meeting?
Motion to approve minutes?
It's been moved in second. Are there any questions, any additions, corrections? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Items for consideration. The City of Evanston's payroll through April the 24th, 2011, $2,467,845.34. Is there a motion for approval?
I move to approve the payroll.
Second?
It's been moved in second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
City of Evanston's bills for funding year 2011 through May 10th, 2011, $2,267,675.59, and the credit card bills through March the 31st, 2011, $119,392.78. Could we have a motion?
I move to approve the bills and the credit card bills.
Okay. All right, it's been moved in second. You have the, I think everyone has had a chance to look at the questions that were asked on the bills list this week. Are there any comments?
The answers are very clear.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything on those? Were all your questions answered? Okay, great. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving right ahead. A3, approval of the renewal of the agreement with Open Kitchens Incorporated. Sorry? I did. We had credit cards and the bills together. Yes, I did both of them. Thank you. Approval of renewal agreement with Open Kitchens Incorporated for the 2011 Summer Food Service Program, bid number 11-01. Staff recommends City Council approval of the renewal agreements for the 2011 Summer Food Service Program to Open Kitchens Incorporated in the not-to-exceed amount of $2.32 per lunch. $78,000 is budgeted in Business Unit 3050 for the cost of the lunches. This is a reimbursement program in which the total amount of reimbursements the city will receive is dependent upon the number of lunches served and the and it varies depending on the level of participation. I think there's a new site. I know Robert Crown, Fleetwood, Mason, and I believe James Park this year. So those would be the sites. Any discussion? Alderman Rainey.
I do move approval of this. I don't know if anybody did that yet.
Second?
I wanted to ask if there's a difference between the number of meals served and the participation. I mean, it seems to me like the same thing, but it was written as though it were.
Oh, they can't hear you. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. There was a comment that the price, the rate depends on the number of meals served or the participation, and increase in participation. I don't understand if those are two different things or if it's the same thing.
I think Mr. Dornicker, Mr. Gaynor's here, but are kids eligible for a second lunch sometimes if they're hungry? And maybe that might answer it. Somehow in head, that's in the back of my head. I can't remember that.
I'd hope you'd say yes.
Yes, I think so.
Bob Dornicker, Recreation Superintendent. To answer your question, it's per meal that's served. So as the numbers increase, it's just that the dollars amounts would increase for the amount that's reimbursed to the city.
Because it's per lunch,
It's
right?
per lunch, that's correct. At a cost of $3.23, that's the reimbursement rate.
That's the government rate.
Correct, that's correct. Yes,
So
it
do
is.
we get to keep the difference for administration or what?
That is correct. The difference goes towards administrative costs.
Will you be, I know you probably will have this on our website, but it would be really helpful if we would have the sites, the hours of operation, and the fact that there's free lunches on the ECTV and Channel 16?
We will do that as we've done in the past.
Any more comments, questions? Okay. It's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
A 3.2, approval of the contract award recommended to J. Gill and Company for the 2011 parking lot number 60 repair project bid 11-64. Staff recommends approval of the 2011 parking lot number 60 repair lot to J. Gill and Company in the amount of $76,020. Funding will be provided by the Capital Improvement Program, account number 415896, with a budget of $96,000.
Move approval. Second.
It's been moved and second. Any questions? Alderman Grover.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The memo refers to both a traffic membrane and a new waterproofing membrane. Are they the same? There. And how old is this lot, the garage? And the follow-up question is, what's the expected life of a waterproofing membrane? Is this one supposed to deteriorate?
Good evening, Stephanie Levine, Parks, Recreation, and Community Services. I believe the waterproofing membrane has a 10-year warranty on it.
Are we within the warranty then?
The new one that we will be installing, I'm afraid I can't speak to the existing facility, but I think Ricky Voss can answer that question.
Good evening, Ricky Voss, Parking Revenue Division Manager. To the best of my knowledge, and I'd have to double check my figures, but the lot's about 15 years old, and we discussed, this was when they built that condominium association over in the 1200 block of Chicago Avenue. It's the lower part of that condo association, and the lot oversees and covers their storage units down below, and that's the need for the repair.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, it's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
A 3.3, approval of the contract award recommended to G.A. Johnson and Son for 2011 Sherman Plaza Garage Gap Repair Project bid number 12-09. Staff recommends approval of the 2011 Sherman Plaza Parking Garage Gap repair projects to G.A. Johnson and Son in the amount of $76,330. Funding will be provided by Capital Improvement Program, account number 416138, with a budget of $2,100,000.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Are there questions, comments? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I guess I should say any opposed, but I hear all of the ayes, so. Okay. A 3.4, approval of contract award to bid, approval of contract award to Arrow Road Construction Company for the Dodge Avenue resurfacing project, bid number 12-16. Staff recommends City Council approval of a contract award for the Dodge Avenue resurfacing project, Oakton Street to Lee Street to Arrow Road Construction Company in the amount of $697,435.65. Funding for this work will be provided by the Motor Fuel Tax Fund, $300,000 Fund number 200, and the CIP Fund, $397,435.65, Fund number 415857.
On behalf of the 9th Ward, I move approval.
The 8th ward.
And the 8th Ward.
I was going to say, and I would second it on behalf of the city of Evanston, since we all use Dodge.
Desperately needs it.
Absolutely. Are there any other comments?
And the 2nd Ward.
Yeah.
Part of yours, too. That's right.
Absolutely. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I'm assuming no opposed. A3.5, approval of contract agreement for Evanston Water Utility Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System, SCADA, upgrades to Allen Integrated Control Systems Incorporated. Staff recommends City Council approval of an agreement to provide design build services for the Evanston Water Utility Supervisory Council and Data Acquisition Systems upgrade to Allen Integrated Control Systems in the not-to-exceed amount of $1,649,642. Funding will be provided from two sources. The city has applied for a grant from the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity in the amount of $350,000, and the Water Fund, account number 733078, will provide the remainder of the funding in the amount of $1,299,642. Been moved in second. Any comments? Alderman Rainey.
Are we pretty confident we're going to get are we pretty confident that we're going to get the grant money?
Mrs. Stonebeck, you want to address that?
Because
Good evening, Dave Stomek, Director of Utilities. Yes, we do have this signed grant now. We sent a notice out in the Friday packet indicating that.
you did? Oh, on the online packet or in here? 'Cause
It would have
it's not
been
in
the
here.
online packet, as
Okay,
far as I
all
know.
right. Maybe so.
The CMO. Is the weekly
It was an email that was sent out.
Okay. Any other
It's a good
questions?
thing.
Great. Okay, it's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? A4, Resolution 26-R-11, authorizing the lease of the computer lab in Main Library to the Workforce Board of Northern Cook County. Staff recommends city approval of the Resolution 26-R-11, authorizing the lease agreement by and between the City of Evanston and the Workforce Board of Northern Cook County, a nonprofit corporation, for the lease of a computer lab in the main library. The lease will be for a one-year term, beginning May 15, 2011 through May 14, 2012, and leased at a rental rate of $14,740 per year. Are there any, it's been moved in second. Are there any questions, Alderman Rainey?
I need to know how this is going to look when it's functioning and what the effect it will have on regular library patrons who are not part of, the job search community. And is it 5 days a week, 8 hours a day? That part, I need clarification.
Thank you. Mary Johns, Library Director. This arrangement will be a partnership with Workforce Board and the WorkNet folks. Business and Career Services will provide the actual service. And this is a function that they provided when they worked with IDES. And so people will be referred to this location by various of the partners in the community, as well as library users. And so we will share that.
I think you're, just let me interrupt in case you didn't understand my question. I understand what is being proposed. What I don't understand is how is it going to affect people who want to go in and Google something on the computers or learn something new on a computer when people searching for jobs. I don't understand how intrusive is this going to be?
Actually, it
how
won't.
is it going to operate side by side with everybody else who uses the library?
The library, the computer lab is virtually unused a good share of the time right now. And the computers that people use to come in and just Google and look for information are public access computers that are on the second and third floors. So this space is actually used right now just when we have a class. And we have made arrangements that we will continue to have classes in that space, and that they will also offer classes on the job search and career resources. So it really will it won't negatively impact our public. In actuality, it will give many of our users more of an opportunity to have those kinds of services.
Well, it probably will, but will they have an office there too?
Yes, they will have
How many employees are there?
They have two. They have two
And how
full-time.
many hours a day
And
will
they will
they-
be there from 10 to 6, and they plan to be there 5 days a week and offer some service on the weekends and in evenings.
So people accessing their service have to be registered with Illinois Employment Security? No.
Absolutely not.
Where-
Anyone coming in, like, for example, if we had reference staff who were working with customers, which we do regularly, looking for jobs and learning how to do resumes, we would work with them just as we do now till we reach a point where it's beyond our time or ability to do so, and we can refer them to that space.
Okay, that's good. Who pays the bill? Who pays the rent?
Workforce Board,
But who is that? Where did they get their money?
they get some of their money from federal funds. It's a pass-through. They're an organization, the umbrella organization for the services that were provided through the Illinois Department of Employment Services.
No, the word Illinois Department, that's what bothers me. Do they
But it-
get any state money?
Not to my knowledge for
Not
this,
sure,
no.
Have you ever thought, in discussing this, did you ever think of a lump sum payment for the rent?
We did not consider a lump sum.
I know it sounds great and just all fuzzy and warm, and everybody's going to get, to look for a job. But I'm just a little concerned. I'm especially concerned now that you tell me that we've had a computer lab that nobody uses. And I'm just wondering how come that is, and why was that?
Well, that's a good question, and the one that I've been asking for a couple of years.
But you
which is-
never asked, I don't think any of us knew that you had an unused computer lab. I didn't know that.
The lab has been there for a number of years. I'm not sure how many. And we've talked about ways that we could increase the usage of that space, and we certainly will continue to do the classes that we offer. And this will, again, make it more available to more people in the sense of the job search business.
The reason I'm so concerned about that is every year, I'm chair of the Community Development Block Grant Committee, and several people here have been on that committee or serve on that committee now. One of the most frequent requests for funding is computer training, job search training. We give thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a year, every year, to various groups because they say that there's absolutely no place in the city other than their space where anybody can go and search for a job or do a resume. So knowing that that's there this year, I wish I had known it
Well, and one of the things that
$50,000 ago.
One of the things that we're doing with this project is there are a number of other partners or agencies that provide similar kinds of services and referrals that will be able to then refer people to this space.
We have a whole list of them, that's for sure. So that's, that part, just knowing that there's a computer lab there that's not being used, that, to me, that's shocking. So, good luck. Sounds like a plan.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? I want to make a correction. I believe I read the amount wrong. The amount for the rental is $17,400 per year. I think I said 14. Okay.
I like your second number better.
I do too. Okay. It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. A5, Resolution 30-R-11, authorizing the lease of office space in the main library to Foundation 65. Staff recommends City Council approval of Resolution 30-R-11, authorizing the execution of a lease agreement by and between the City of Evanston and Foundation 65, a nonprofit corporation for office space in the main library. The lease will be for a 3-year term beginning May 15, 2011 through May 14, 2014, and leased at a rental rate of $5,000 per year, or $416.67 per month. Is there a motion? Are there, Alderman Rainey?
Did our legal department do this lease? Just want to know.
or at least approve it.
Grant for our Corporation Counsel, Alderman Rainey through Chairman Holmes. Yes, we did approve it. We did vet it.
Would that have been the same on the lease with Northern Cook County as well, I would imagine?
Correct.
Thank you. Are there other questions? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, A6, ordinance 32-0-11, authorizing the amendment to the real estate sales contract for sale of city-owned property in the 700 block of Chicago Avenue to Evanston Devco LLC. Staff recommends approval of ordinance 32-0-11, which includes the reduced sale price of $770,085 for the city property on the 700 block of Chicago Avenue due to current market conditions and the substantial changes in property valuations. AMLI anticipates proceeding with constructions in 2011 subject to final private financing approval. AMLI has been pursuing plans reviewed by multiple city departments in the past 90 days.
Approval. Second.
Are there any comments and questions? Alderman Grover.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Dennis Marino and I had a nice conversation this afternoon about this property. To fill in some of the background for me, if you could maybe fill us in again, Dennis, it was really interesting. I was not on the council in 2008, and so I had questions about when and how the city acquired the property, what its highest appraised value was, how this parcel fits into this larger development, and contingencies built into the purchase agreement so that the city reacquires the property if the plan doesn't unfold the way we hope it will. So, Mr. Marino?
Yes, thank you, Alderman Grover. Dennis Marino, Community and Economic Development. The issues, if I could just quickly summarize, the plan development was approved in 2008. It's a fairly large mixed-use development covering 3 parcels. It's the 1920s era building that wraps around on Kedzie and Chicago where the Salvation Army was before. And to the south of that, the 2 vacant car dealerships, and then the city parcel, which at this point is a vacant lot, has been used for over 25 years as parking related to the former car dealers that were there. The highest appraised value of the property was $900,000 in 2007. Basically, the city acquired the property in 1982, is what our records show, and it was then used by the car dealerships from that point forward under a lease arrangement. And I'm sorry, did I miss any of the other questions?
Can I assume that the city acquired the property for the purpose of controlling it for development at that point, or do we have any idea why?
I'm not absolutely certain. That is my assumption, but there was a number of transactions in that area at that point related to both Jewel and Dominic's as well in that area. Sorry.
Alderman Rainey has a question, I think.
Dennis, what is the record date of purchase by the city for that lot?
1982 was the record that I was able to document.
My recollection is it was a city parking lot. No? At some point in time?
I think it may have been used also as a city parking lot at one point in time, but I couldn't document that precisely. I could document the transaction date.
The reason I'm thinking that is I live at 746 Hinman, which backs right up to that site. And I recall, it was a fabulous little corner. There was a drugstore and Wolf's grocery store. And, it was just very fun family corner. And I thought I remembered a city parking lot because parking on Hinman and the 700 block is impossible. So there was 2 city parking lots on Hinman, and I thought there was one on Chicago Avenue. It could be wrong.
So has the decline in the value of this property been consistent with the decline in real estate values elsewhere in the city? drop of this amount?
Right. I think it depends on location, obviously, with any real estate. The reappraisal shows basically at the high end of the range in the reappraisal, we're at $770,000 approximately. It represents about a 15% decline from the $900,000. That strikes me as being slightly less than what I would expect in some other commercial parcels, but it really depends on the location.
And this developer has agreed to purchase the property at the high end of the appraisal range.
In 2008, they did agree to purchase the property at the appraised value at that point, and now they've agreed to purchase it at the high end of the reappraisal range.
And Mr. Marino, would you explain the reverter clause in the purchase agreement?
Yes, I will, as best I can.
Thank you.
It's in the contract, I believe it's Exhibit D, if I'm not mistaken. And if you turn to Exhibit D, this is page 156 of 298 in your packet. Exhibit D, right of reverter. This was suggested by the Planning and Development Committee in 2008 when this was initially considered. And basically, in so many words, it obligates, the city has the right to reclaim the property if the developer does not proceed with the planned development as approved in terms of substantial compliance. So one of the concerns of the committee in 2008 was that suppose the developer were to purchase the property and then not proceed and sell it off for greater value. So that was one of the concerns expressed at that time. You're welcome.
Two points. One of the most fascinating things about this project, I think, is that the neighbors liked it. The second thing, I wanted to know, how much did we pay for the property, the lot that we're talking about?
I do not know the precise answer to that, but we can certainly check and give you that record before it's considered for adoption.
Well, okay. Yeah, I would really like to know. I think it's important to know that we don't always lose money doing things.
Certainly.
Mr. Moreno, can you speak to the issue? It says that they've been pursuing plans with multiple departments in the last 90 days. Just how close are we to really sealing the deal this time? And the reason why I ask is because this was held over from 2008, and I don't remember, I may be wrong, but I don't remember it really coming back to us. In the meantime, are we really going to seal the deal this time and be finished with it?
We certainly expect to, and Steve Ross is here from AMLE, and perhaps after I give an initial response, if you're interested in an update, he can certainly provide that. But I can speak as a city staff person that Mr. Ross and his consultants and colleagues have been very engaged with Public Works, the Utilities Department, and Community and Economic Development over the past several weeks, particularly with the Building Division, and quite a bit of a flurry of activities. So we're very optimistic at this point, but if you'd like, Mr. Ross certainly would be happy to address that.
I'd love to hear from him.
Hi, I'm Steve Ross, Executive Vice President of Development for AMLE Residential. And I think I would characterize it as that we're cautiously optimistic to get the project started, and I would emphasize the word optimistic. We have closed on one of the land parcels, which is the corner land parcel where the Salvation Army previously was located, and we closed last week. And I think that that is a great indication of the willingness of my organization to move forward. And many of you are familiar with the difficulty we had in closing on that particular parcel because the landowner had filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The lender foreclosed, and the lender was taken over by the FDIC and transferred to another bank. So throughout all those changes, we were able to still keep the property in our control to enable us to move forward for the entire development. So we've done quite a bit to keep this thing moving forward over the past few years, even though the capital markets were not favorable to any new development. I think that's changed in the past 12 months, there's a significant amount of new capital coming into real estate, but primarily into the area of residential rental real estate, which we are primary beneficiaries of from the capital markets. My organization is a wholly owned subsidiary of one of the Morgan Stanley funds, and this is a project that I believe we will move forward on and that we will likely self-finance with our own funds, and subject only to what I believe is the normal process of getting our plans and specs through the city, obtaining building permits, and also at the same time getting a hard price from our general contractor, which is Walsh Construction. And I think those are the next hurdles for us. In terms of putting together the plans and specs, as most of you know, it's a significant expenditure to put together a full set of plans and specs for a project of this size. So we have essentially done that, and I believe that we're 3 or 4 weeks away from what is a formal submittal of our plans for building permit review.
Any other, Alderman Burrs?
Hi again.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I was on Plan Commission when this development came before the council was approved. And I want to say I'm looking forward to seeing it moving forward and to say thank you for all the time you spent hearing from citizens and plan commissioners, and you made substantial changes, I think, to make this property, this whole, assembling all of this and making it really cohesive. So thank you. And
Well, thank
hopefully
you for your
we'll-
support and the support of the plan commissioners and council members from what was, it's 4 years ago. Time flies. But the project looks good to me. It is a absolute one of the best locations for this type of real estate, which is a transit-oriented development across from 2 train stations with a mixture of retail, rental apartments, and live-work units. All in compliance with all of the underlying zoning and with substantial support from the neighborhood. So, and in addition, in the past 4 years, we have not had any lack of communication with staff and with the aldermen and with the neighbors. I have continued to talk and tell people what we're doing and what's going on, and I think that's been helpful. You know, just a high level of communication with the neighborhood and the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. All in, it's been moved in second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. That completes our agenda. The Planning and Development Committee will meet 15 minutes after